What is up, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody. This is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. And before I get started, I would like to send a special shout out to the new subscriber known as King of Amazing. Thank you so much for joining. And to all the newcomers, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Check this out. Now, let's get started with tonight's review of Friday Night SmackDown Holiday Edition. This was pre taped from last week, which is why they are still in Chicago, even though the bloodline opened up without talking about the city of Chicago. What's interesting is, like I said last week, I won't get into a political part of it, but I don't know if WWE or AEW, for that matter, will be going to Chicago anytime soon after January of next year because some of you have probably heard about what's going on in Chicago, which I will not talk about because I don't talk political stuff. However, it just makes me wonder, will WWE consider it safe to go there for special events? I don't know. But in any event, tonight, Paul Heyman speaks for Roman Reigns. Roman does not demand Chicago acknowledge them because it's a pre taped event, obviously. They talk, of course, everybody knows this in Chicago because when Paul Heyman talked about going to Tampa, the fans started booing because because we all know Paul is trying to imply that Tampa is better than Chicago. Roman implied the same thing last week. But this week, Sammy came in and he gave a direct message to John Cena and Kevin Owens about Kevin being the Black Cloud. And of course, everyone loves Sami Zayn. Even The Undertaker said, "How can you not like it?" Great point. Speaking of Undertaker, I made a very I wanted to do a funny post. I did a funny post earlier this week when I told you guys, quick story. I was looking this week for a match between The Undertaker and the Executioner. I also looked for Bret Hart versus Psycho Sid because it's that time and I watch matches. A lot of times I like to watch matches from the past. So I ended up looking for Undertaker versus the Executioner, along with Psycho Sid versus Bret Hart, which all took place at In Your House. It's time. However, it was pretty strange when I found Undertaker versus Executioner was on a very strange site. I'll just keep it there. It's in my community post, and you can see my meme that I use the Undertaker for. But back to the thing, we opened up with the bloodline, and I'm really interested in next week. I can't wait to see the tag match between next week. John Cena almost lost the streak, but he won't because he will be competing next week, right before the end of the year. And also, we have the Usos with Hit Row. And it was a match where we saw Top Dollar try to hoist both Usos, but his leg gave out because during the match, the Usos worked on his leg and eventually went for a Super 1D, not from the top rope or anything, but I call it Super 1D because that was a heavy one. So they delivered the 1D to Top Dollar, 1D to TD for the win. I will just say this: Top Dollar is known for his strength, but Top Dollar, with all due respect, what you did last week, don't ever, ever, ever. And the Rock means ever do that again. What you did last week when you attempted that dive, just don't ever, ever try that again. Nonetheless, the Usos continue to prove their strength at 523 days and counting as tag team champions. Tonight we had the women's gauntlet match, which consisted of it started off with Emma and Xia Li, and Xia Li eliminated both Emma as well as the person she attacked and cost the match last week, Tegan Knox, aka Lady Kane. However, that momentum was brought down when Raquel Gonzalez came out and took out Xia Li, then would take out Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan and Xia Li was the most competitive part of that gauntlet match. And if you notice, there was a moment in the match where Liv Morgan and Raquel extended a smile because they have a huge respect for one another, almost friendship. And of course, during the match, Liv Morgan apologized before she went for a move in the ring corner where she attacked Raquel's arm. Also, nice submission armbar, cross armbar by Liv Morgan, but that wasn't enough. Liv Morgan still wins. Then Sonya Deville comes out, attacks the arm for a little bit, but is at the right place at the wrong time. Another Tamahata bomb. Raquel goes on. We thought Raquel won, but then another MMA based talent, as Sonya is, Shayna Killer comes out, and we thought Shayna was going to do the damage, but it backfired, and Raquel still won the match. So even Wade Barrett was having a fit, and Wade Barrett is a heelish supporter. And speaking of supporters, he was probably, well, I'm not going to say that. But in any event, moving forward, strange things going on with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt came out tonight and he said, I told y'all I wasn't Uncle Howdy. And let's be honest. Let me ask you guys, did you think Bray Wyatt was Uncle Howdy? Because I sure did. To me, I thought Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy were all in the same. And I always say that Bray Wyatt has more alter egos than Tyler Perry. Nonetheless, someone else is Uncle Howdy. For a minute, they said, I thought Bo Dallas was, but people kept saying Bo Dallas is slim, true, and he doesn't have a bit of a belly at all. I don't think he has any body fat on him, so who knows. But all we know is it's not Bray Wyatt, and let's be honest, I thought it was Bray. Nonetheless, Bray goes into a quiet gaze, and the fiendish version of him comes out when he attacks the cameraman and gets thrown out of the arena. This is getting interesting. I'm going to tell you that right now. Speaking of, we have Rey Mysterio versus Angel Garza, while Karrion Kross and Scarlett watch in the audience. Angel Garza makes the mistake of mocking Rey Mysterio, 619 attempt, and gets one of his own with a DDT for the end, which you don't often see as his ending finisher. Nonetheless, one of my childhood favorites, Rey Mysterio, has won. Speaking of which, I did a review on Rey Mysterio. Be sure to check that out. Tonight we had a very entertaining, what's it called? We had a Miracle at 34th Street fight between Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Imperium. Before we go any further, Lacey Evans is coming back next week. We gotta see how that's gonna be. And I think that's everything sidewise. Let's get into this match. Oh, and also, let's see what's gonna happen because Emma slapped Scarlett. Let's see what happens. But to this match was very, very, very entertaining to me. I'm trying to figure out how Vincey is still conscious after Braun Strowman knocked him the freak out. I'm just trying to figure that out. Also, the most hilarious thing ever. In the boxes, when you saw those life-size boxes, you knew somebody was in that box. Somebody was in there. In one box, you had a ballerina. What the helicopter is going on here? And the other one, you had the New Day. First of all, they were really good at freezing. It's almost like they were actually in London because, in London, they have those Roman soldiers that stand still and completely frozen, except the soldiers kicked both members of Imperium and the Imperium. And so that was hilarious. And then they saluted Braun Strowman as Braun Strowman went and powerbombed Kaiser through a table. And Ricochet woke up real quick after that kiss from Samantha. That just woke him up and just fired him up. Who knew a kiss could fire you up? Weird, but interesting. But in any event, great tag match tonight. Very interesting. Ricochet was fired up. Very entertaining. That's all I got to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What you think about this pre-taped show. I'm your host, Dan Cody. That's all the time I have for you today. And I hope you guys have a very happy and Merry Christmas. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out.